it's no use that we brag about our constitution. You know, it's regarded as progressive globally and it is internationally acclaimed. But our constitution must become a reality for all of our people.
Education is a primary concern for South Africans and for many the only hope of improving their lives. Yet, the Basic Education Laws Amendment Bill endangers constitutional rights by centralizing control over education with the government and disempowering school governing bodies. Now, as many of you who are parents will know, school governing bodies are made up of parents in that school. The majority of members on SGBs are parents. So basically what this bill wishes to do is take away power from the parents to decide which policies are in the best interest of their children in that school and how to run that school and centralize it with the government. One of the things you mentioned was food security.
Yes.
Perhaps you can talk to us about this.
I mean, food security, that's really part of our issue of poly-crisis that we face today. So just touching on the macro and micro again, your macro and micro, basically your macro factors such as the Israel-Palestine conflict as well as your Russia-Ukraine war, there's drastically increased the prices of your wheat products, your bread, as well as your cooking oil. I mean, these form part of the staple diets of your poor, working class and middle class, basically people from all walks of life. The only issue is your poor to your working class cannot maybe adapt as fast as your higher income groups, but also your micro challenges, so load shedding, obviously that has direct consequences on the production and output of farming, which means that there's less food from the farm onto your table.
The problem comes with the implementation of these laws, and that's where we're seeing almost like a bottleneck and we're seeing inefficiencies. Can you tell us a bit more about these inefficiencies and what you learned?
The most important inefficiency that actually emerged within research is that the policing institutions, their ineffectiveness in actually reporting and having these cases being reported and the proper documentation actually alludes to the fact that there is some institutional incapacities and the lack of documenting these increasing cases.
Ismail, one of the concerns you raised in your presentation was the Employment Equity Act Amendment Bill and proposed regulations that have been tabled to be made in terms of this bill that would set forth specific targets for industries and so forth. And in your view, this law would aggravate racial discrimination, it would aggravate racial disparities in the workplace. Rather than solve equality or further equality, it would promote inequality, right? How could we actually further achieve equality based in the workplace?
Right. Well, thank you, Daniela. Now, the Employment Equity Amendment Act of 2023 and the regulations made in terms of it risks perpetuating racial inequalities in South Africa by unfairly discriminating against South Africans. Now, critics of the Employment Equity Act argue that while this bill has some noble intentions, it perpetuates racial inequalities and thus impedes social cohesion and economic growth.
But what's getting reflected through the results is what as citizens we see as legitimate leadership paying us forward in government.
Young people need to get involved, and then I think you've got to be relevant out there and participate in fora like this.